Welcome back to the Garden Hutch. Today we're going to discuss a few things to keep in mind in the summer to maximize your food production. Let's get going. So summer has officially arrived and the heat has come with it. Up to this point, it's been relatively pleasant, low 90s, that sort of thing. But with the first day of summer coming here in 7B, we're looking at the next 10 to 15 days, all in triple digits. And that's not feels like, that's actual temperature. So what I thought we would do is just go over 3 little tips that we have to ensure that we maximize the food production from our gardens. So tip number 1 is start early. Now, I know I talk about that a lot here, but I usually get out and I start in the summertime around 4 o'clock in the morning, with the goal being to be finished around 10. So let's take a look at the top garden here, and you can see these yellow squash plants, the leaves on them are still looking nice. And then if we go over here and look at this zucchini plant, you can see it's a little bit droopy. The reason for that is it's about 98 degrees right now, and those plants get incredibly stressed out at this part of the day. They'll start wilting down a little bit, and what that does is kind of allows them to keep a little bit of the moisture in their leaves. When they're out like this, of course they're all in the full sun and they tend to lose a lot more moisture. The reason we like to do all of our gardening first thing in the morning before the sun comes up is during this time of day, it is really difficult on these plants. And the more we go through and do the trimming or tying or anything like that, you're just adding to the stressors. And when you do that, it is going to have an adverse effect on the overall production of your plant and the garden area. The second tip I have to maximize the production from your garden is watering. Now, again, we talk about watering and all the ways that we save water and make the water go a little farther here on the homestead. But in this instance, I wanted to point out it is super important that when the temperatures get above triple digits that you water often and you water extra. So generally here on the homestead, when it's over 90 degrees, we like to make sure that our plants get about 3 inches of water each week. Whenever the temperatures get above triple digits, we increase that to about 4 inches, and I will water every other day. Now that's a lot of work. That's one of the reasons why I start at 4 o'clock in the morning. But it's a lot of work, it's a lot of effort to do it by hand, but in the end, it's gonna pay off. So let's take a look at our cucumbers when we're discussing water. The reason for that is cucumbers are very water intensive. If you don't water often and give them extra water during the heat of the summer, your production is going to drop dramatically. Leslie absolutely loves making pickles. People love Leslie's pickles, and if we don't have them, there'll be a lot of disappointed family members. So watering every other day really does come in handy. And you can see, the reason I'm showing you this is it's been triple digits for a couple days now. It's getting really hot, and you can see these cucumber, not only are they have flowers everywhere, but they are still setting. And the reason for that is, again, we have upped the water amount we put in to about 4 inches a week. But more importantly, instead of doing the 4 inches once or twice a week, we're splitting it up over the course of every other day. So that allows us to water deeply, but also make sure that it has access to the water throughout the entire course of the week. Here in 7B, whenever the heat starts, it is really difficult to water deeply enough for your plants to have access to the water if you don't do it every other day. So the third and final tip I have for you folks is to pick your gardens early and pick them often. Your plants put a lot of energy into developing their fruit because, that's their progeny, right? So the important thing is the sooner we can get those vegetables off, Number one, the less energy the plant's going to have to put into that specific vegetable. Number two, it's going to trigger the plant to make more vegetables. And when we're talking about food security, that's really what we're after, right? We want quality and we want quantity. It's difficult to get a high amount of production from your plants when it's 100 degrees and sweltering outside if you don't pick the vegetables off. The plants will naturally try to reserve as much energy as they can and put it into the existing vegetables. The more you pick your squash, your green beans, those sorts of things, the more it'll trigger the plant to produce more of them. The example I like to give are the yellow squash. So let's get in here in this yellow squash plant and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now you can tell the size of this squash here. That's about the size that we will pick our yellow squash at during the heat of the summer. When it starts getting above 95, you know, between 95 and triple digits, right around there, this is the size of yellow squash that we will pick. Now, whenever the temperatures are a bit more forgiving, we'll let them swell in size and just pick them at that point. But right now, the more we pick these, the more flowers we're going to get, the less strain that our plants are going to have, and overall the production is going to increase, which only makes our food security increase as well. So just a couple notes here before I let you folks go. As anybody who watches the channel knows, I am a big proponent of mulching your garden beds. If you haven't, please do so. It's going to save you a lot of frustration and it's really going to increase the production of your garden. Another thing I wanted to note is here on the homestead, when we plant our gardens, we do so trying to give our gardens a little bit of shade in the evenings. So the old garden specifically, they get some shade from our oak trees after about 3:30 or 4 o'clock. The top garden up here, it also gets shaded from some of our trees towards the end of the day. And while that may sound a little counterintuitive, you know, blocking some of the sun from your plants, trust me, in July and August, your plants will thank you and the productivity will go up because of that. As always, I appreciate everyone for hanging out with us today. Until next time, I hope you all take care of yourselves. Peace.